Welcome back, you lovely bunch. Thanks for tuning again. I hope you're all doing good. It's a rainy day. I was going to do a little bit of a video on the turbo, but let's be honest, that's a little bit boring. So we have the Trek bike here. I have just noticed there's a massive gouge in the paint there. This one might actually need a new paint job very soon. And then we have the Marin Gestalt up there, freshly painted, waiting to be built. All I'm waiting for is a chainring. And speaking of chain rings, so I've been given a very funky chain ring and a very unique sprocket from Dan. So he's engineered these for some track team. Check this out. See, it's got every other tooth missing, so there's less friction. You see that? So I mostly ride this track bike out on the road. I very rarely ride it on the velodrome. And then if you're racing fixed gear crits, the gearing people tend to ride is much lighter than the one you'd ride on the velodrome. I'm not sure what size this chainring is. Let me give you a little, I'm going to show you, because it is actually an absolute workout. Look at this, it's like bloody lovely in there. Look at that, this is the inside. So it's a 145 BCD, so it should just fit straight on. But to give you an idea, I mean, look at the, if I get this around there, the size difference. This is like, it's humongous. I do have these little tiny ones as well, and as you can see, they have every other sprocket missing. So I believe this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tooth. So in fact, this would be a 14 tooth. I believe this is a 64. So I'll be rocking a 64-14. A ridiculously huge gearing, far too big to be riding on the road, far too big to be riding outside in the rain today. So I figured why not just put it on anyway, because, you know, I've got these funky sprockets and I think it will look wicked. So I did get a new chain. I'm really hoping this chain fits on its own, or I might have to join two together because the gearing might be so big. But I'm pretty sure we can get away changing the sprockets and just putting a new chain on, and that should be done. So I'm going to wrestle these wheels off. We're going to take these chain rings off, get rid of the sprocket. So I will chat you through how to change a sprocket on a track bike. So anyone wondering how you change a sprocket and your cassette and all that stuff on a track bike, stay tuned. So there we go, the wheel is out. So it has two 15mm nuts. Bum, 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 bum. Unlike me, it has only one nut. A lock ring here, which goes one way, and a sprocket that goes the other way. They thread opposite ways in order to keep it tight, and it is this lock ring here that keeps this sprocket on. I'm going to try and show you this. This is going to be like really impossible, but let's do it. So look, you just hook this in there, and then it makes a horrible noise because you feel like you're breaking your spokes. Right, another top tip to no knuckle grating is wear a glove. See, it also gives you a little bit of padding with the tool. I figured as we're putting a massive chainring on, we might as well go fully impractical and put the tiny 14 tooth on. So we might as well go as big a gearing as possible. So there we go, look, this little one is dum dum dum. Do you know what, I should probably get a gear calculator and work out exactly what gear I'm going to be running. So I have this bicycle ratio gear calculator thing. I don't know if it's actually accurate, but look. So I've put in, I'm going to run a 64 and a 14, and at 90 RPM I'll be going at roughly this speed. Blah 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 blah. So obviously with a track bike only having one gear, the bigger the gearing you put on it, the faster you can go. But the downside is it makes it harder to get on top of the gearing. You don't have a bunch of easy gears to get you prepared for the heavy gear. It's literally straight in with your hardest gear. So you need some strong legs to get these things going. Right, that is the back wheel all sorted. Look at this. That looks very odd. Let me show you a comparison. Right, so here we go. Here's a good way of showing you. This is an 18 tooth. So these two, appearance aside, are actually the same sprocket. This is an 18 tooth, this is also an 18 tooth, but Dan & Co have got rid of this middle one, so there's less friction. I do wonder how this would work out on the street, because on the track, you're just pedalling forwards, whereas when you're riding on the road, there's a lot of back pedaling, and these extra teeth help spread the load of the chain, whereas braking on this, I'm not sure, but yeah, there's a difference, see? So, exactly the same number of teeth, as you can see, we'll overlay them. So it's just missing a tooth, every other tooth. And this is for less friction. Less friction, more speed, more watts. And we all know in the velodrome, or well, anywhere in cycling, the more watts you can get out, the better. So next we're going to remove the chainring and the chain. Very simple, very quick. Got my chain breaker. So the next thing is the chain ring, and it's just a matter of two Allen keys, one on each side, loosen off all the bolts. here you can see a very, very, very distinct difference between chainring sizes. Look at this. Look at the size difference. Look at the size of it. This is a 47 tooth, and then we run it with a like 17 or an 18. Good for all round. If I'm racing, fixed gear crits, that kind of stuff, I run a 47-14, maybe a 48-14, 49-14. What I'll never run is a 64. I mean, what is that? So what we're going to do is, we're going to put it on. Honestly, is this going to fit? Please fit. Oh my God, look at this. It's just like, it's an absolute dinner plate. This is insane. This is definitely the biggest chainring I've ever had on my bike. It's certainly not an out on the street chainring. I mean, you could ride it outdoors, and I'm probably going to, but it's not going to be very practical. And then the bigger the gearing you have on a track bike, the harder it can be to stop it. So I think to start with, we'll take it down to Vela Park so we can give it a little bit of a test out. I'm pretty sure that even on the long straights, I'm not going to get on top of this gearing because, I mean, I like running at a higher RPM. So if I'm running at 108 RPM on this gearing, I'm going to be going like 6,000 miles an hour. As you come around, say, the last corner at the Vela Park, there's a very long straight. But by the time I get on top of this gearing, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to be stopping because there's a corner. And I'm going to end up in a field if I don't stop. I mean, it's a good job I've been doing legs in the gym because it's going to take some serious power to get on top of this gearing. It's just started absolutely bucketing down with rain. It's making me feel that maybe we should just take this to the velodrome. There are actually a lot of sessions over the winter. Would you guys like to see me at the velodrome? Do a little bit of a video there? I mean, the thing is, it's quite far. And if you guys are not interested, I won't bother going. We'll just go to Torquay. It's much closer. It's not a velodrome, but you know, it's a round track. Look at that. That is stupid. Oh my God, it's humongous. That's what she said. Right, let's get this wheel on. Right, so chainring's on, the wheel's in. So with a track bike, you can adjust how far you have the wheel in the dropouts. This will actually slightly change the handling of the bike. But the main reason for this is to keep the chain tight, whatever size gearing you're running. So if I'm running like a 64 at the front and I want to run a 14 and then I decide I want to run a 16, you could move the wheel to give yourself a little bit more slack in order to accommodate different chainring sizes. Right, moment of truth. Let's see if this chain actually fits on. I'm pretty sure it should do, considering it is a track chain. So track chains are, let me show you, are significantly thicker and stronger than an 11-speed chain or a 12-speed chain, 10-speed chain. They'd be rubbish for changing gears, they're just far too wide. And with these, I don't even run a quick link. I simply break the chain at the length I want it. But also by running it further back in the drops, if I wanted to change up to an 18-tooth sprocket and run a 64-18, which is like only 1,000,000 gear inches. So I'd put this sprocket on, I'd put the wheel slightly further forwards, and then the chain would fit, if that makes sense. Right, so top tip, take the chain off, and actually always put it on the second one of these little knobbly bits on your chain breaker. Don't put it on this one here, the one furthest away from where you screw it. So you put it on the first one, that will snap. So it goes in right there, as far over as you can get it. Because the last thing you want is to snap your chain breaker. I've lent my chain breaker to so many people and it's come back with snap tabs because they haven't used it correctly. Flex the chain from left to right and that should loosen it up. Right, let's get this on. Oh, look at the size of that one. Right, so with a track chain, you don't want it really tight. So if you've got it really tight, that's just, it's added resistance, added friction, slows you down, wears your chainring, wears your cassette light, it's just rubbish. So do not over tighten. You want this thing called track slack. So there's a little bit of slackness to the chain there. So that is an absolute beast. So that is a massive size increase from a 47 to what I believe is a 64 dinner plate. I'm really looking forward to taking this out. So I'm gonna have to wait for the storm to stop before we take it out. Maybe we should just go to the velodrome. It's great for winter training, it's indoors, and I get to test out this massive gearing, which will probably be too big for me to push. Quite excited to try this out and see how much of a top speed we can get out of it. I think the velodrome is pretty much the only place where I could test the top speed of this, or a nice long flat road. But then there's the whole safety issue of like not actually having any brakes on the bike. So maybe not the best idea. But then again, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of bike maintenance. It is a 64-14, far too large. Do you ride a fixed gear? If you ride a fixed gear, what size gearing do you run? Would you run this gearing? Let me know down below in the comments. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Bye.